Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking dynamic programming, taking away the magic and making sense of it all. Let's just dive right in.
Dynamic programming, or DP as we'll call it, sounds incredibly complicated, doesn't it? If you're watching this, you've probably hit that wall where it just feels too abstract, like you're supposed to magically see 10 steps into the future.
But here's the absolute truth. It really isn't. Once you flip how you look at it, it goes from terrifying to completely mechanical.
At its core, DP is literally just controlled brute force. It's built on a beautifully simple rule. Solve every useful subproblem exactly once, write the answer down, and reuse it. That's it. That single idea is what turns a problem that would take till the end of the universe to solve into something your computer spits out in a fraction of a second.
Let's look at why DP even exists in the first place. Take the classic Fibonacci sequence. The math is elegant, right? F of n equals f of n minus 1 plus f of n minus 2. But if you try to code that using standard recursion, well, you're going to have a bad time.
Here is exactly why. Say you want to find f of 5. You need f of 4 and f of 3. Okay, makes sense. But to get f of 4, you have to calculate f of 3 again. You're literally doing the exact same work over and over. This creates a massive ballooning exponential computation tree. DP steps in to grab a pair of scissors and just cut those duplicate branches. Basically, if you've already solved something, do not solve it twice.
Now, for DP to actually work, your problem needs to have two specific traits. Number one, overlapping subproblems. Just like we saw with Fibonacci, different parts of your main problem have to depend on the exact same smaller problems. And number two, optimal substructure, which is just a fancy way of saying the best solution for the big problem is built directly out of the best solutions for the smaller pieces. Spot those two things, and you are ready for DP.
Section 1. The four-step DP process.
Every single DP solution runs on this exact blueprint. First, define the state. Ask yourself, what exact information completely describes this one tiny subproblem? Second, derive the transition, meaning what's the formula? How does this state connect to the smaller ones? Third, set your base cases. Where do you start when no calculation is needed? And fourth, choose your computation order.
Let's see that in action with top-down memoization. Look at this code here. The fix for all that repeated work we talked about is actually just adding a cache, which we call memo. Before we dive down a recursive rabbit hole, we just ask, hey, is our current state already defined in the memo? If yes, just hand it back. If no, we do the math, save it to the cache, and then return it. You're still thinking recursively, but you're guaranteeing every state is only solved one single time.
It really helps to compare the mindsets here. Top-down memoization asks, okay, I'm at the top. What do I need to figure out to solve this? It's totally need-based. Bottom-up, also called tabulation, completely flips the script. It asks, what's the absolute smallest piece I can solve first, and how can I build upwards from there? And here is what that bottom-up mindset looks like in code. Notice anything missing? There is literally zero recursion here. No function calling itself. We just set up an array called DP with our base cases, 0 and 1. Then a basic loop counts up, calculating each new state using the two previous answers we already tucked away in the array. Boom! You've completely eliminated the recursive call stack, which honestly is often a lot safer and way more efficient.
Moving right along to Section 2, Architecture and Thinking in Dependencies.
Here is the real secret sauce behind the arrays and loops. DP is actually just evaluating a directed acyclic graph, a DAG. Think of every DP state as a circle, a node. The arrows connecting them, those are your transitions, pointing to the smaller problems they rely on. The algorithm just walks through this dependency graph, hitting every reachable node exactly once. Once you see the graph in your head, writing the code is an absolute breeze.
Next up, Section 3. Practical applications. Let's see how this scales.
This four-step framework scales up to way harder problems, like the famous knapsack problem. Imagine you're packing a bag with a weight limit. Your state here tracks two things. Which item are you looking at right now, and how much room is left in the bag? The transition is just you making a choice. Do I take the maximum value of grabbing the item, adding its value and subtracting its weight, or do I skip it entirely? It's the exact same steps we used for Fibonacci, just with a slightly beefier state.
And for string problems, like finding the longest common subsequence between two words, that dependency graph naturally flattens out into a 2D grid. The state is just your current position in the first sequence and the second sequence. You literally just build your answer by hopping cell by cell across this grid, checking the cell above, the cell to the left, or the diagonal, depending on if the letters match. Same exact principles, just a different shape.
Finally, Section 4, Patterns, Pitfalls, and Optimization. You're gonna make mistakes, so let's flag the most common ones right now. First, defining the wrong state. If your state doesn't hold enough information, your transition math simply won't work. Second, skipping base cases. Every chain of dependencies needs a solid anchor point to start from. Third, overwriting your states incorrectly. And fourth, trying to use DP on a problem that doesn't even have overlapping subproblems. Remember, just because a problem is recursive does not mean it's a DP problem.
Now for a massive pro tip, optimizing your memory. Once your code works, look at the space you're hogging. In our bottom-up Fibonacci, we made a whole array of size n. But wait, our formula only ever looks at the last two values. We don't need the whole array. If we just track the last two numbers and slide them forward like a window, we crush our space complexity from O of n all the way down to O of 1.
I love this quote because it hits the nail right on the head. DP is not really about writing recursive functions or making 2D arrays. It is entirely about modeling dependencies between subproblems. Seriously, figure out exactly what relies on what. Once you have that map, translating it into top-down or bottom-up code is just a mechanical translation.
So I'm going to leave you with this to chew on. Next time you're staring down some terrifying algorithmic problem, stop trying to solve the whole thing at once. Rewire your brain and ask, what are the absolute smallest subproblems here, and how can I solve each one exactly once? Master that question, and you've mastered dynamic programming. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.